and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and call our meeting out of recess. We just went into recess yesterday. And Miss Sarah, I'll go ahead and let you call the roll, please.
Randy Elvis.
Here.
Nancy Barker. Here. John Gibson.
Here.
Joshua Gillum. Tom Kern.
Here.
Robbie Palmer.
Here.
And Jason Roach.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 6 members present constituting a quorum. Now for the other commissioners, Jeff Barrett,
Here.
Chad Britton,
Here.
Larry Clontz,
Here.
Linda Davis, Jimmy Riley,
Here.
Charlie Thacker, and Sybil Von Trent.
All right, everyone. First off, I want to thank everybody for the work yesterday. Lots of good questions, and appreciate all of you being here this morning, especially those that are not on the budget committee. I'm glad you're here. Give you a chance to kind of get a head start on what the budget's going to look like before you have to hear it before the full commission meeting. So I appreciate y'all being here. This time, we're going to go ahead and recognize the sheriff's office to come forward, and we'll begin with courtroom security on page 27. Chief Deputy Allen, I know that you have some new requests you want to discuss. It may be good to go ahead and just go through the budget as it is right now and do the new requests at the end. Is that okay?
I would agree, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, courtroom security. Does anybody have any questions for Chief Deputy Allen? All right, if there are no questions, we'll move on to the sheriff's office. The next page is 28.
Just came across an error on page 29. I want to bring everybody's attention to it. When you go to 54110-718, there is a 0 missing on that column. On the 24-25 column, that 21,000 should read 210,000. So that reduction of 189 is not true. It should say 0 on that 5th column.
I was going to say, what's a pat on the back right there?
No, I guarantee you, they both want that number to stay the same.
Honestly, my first thought was it had something to do with ARPA funding, and because that was where my head went to. So thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. You'll see that correction in draft 2.
So at 189, that 189,000 in parentheses just needs to be zeroed out.
Correct.
All right, if there's no questions for the sheriff's office. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Tony, on, I believe it's line 110 lieutenants, is that 56,000, is that just step increases or?
Yes, that's just where they pull up in 110 lieutenants. That's just where they get their the 1 through 8 pay scale. They may have 4 to a 5.
Now you added a lieutenant this year.
Renee,
That's why it's so high.
You added a lieutenant. Okay.
but money came out of the other side.
Yeah, you'll see it drawn right there in the sergeant's position, 48,834.
Right below it, yeah. So one went up, one went down. They won't match, they won't tie exactly because people are still progressing across those steps. So that's why they don't match dollar for dollar. But that's the offsetting reduction.
Any other questions? Registry. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Gillum is present. If there's no questions about the sex offender registry fund, moving on to the jail fund, which is on page 30 as well.
For sub 54210,340 medical and dental services, increase of 20,000. Is that just basically? I see this includes mental health. Is it just cost that we're getting?
That's, we have to prepare, Southern Health. A lot of times, well, I always ask for a 3% increase. The sheriff negotiates that every year, and sometimes we get a 1% or a 3% or a 0%. Can't really tell you that exact number until July 1 is whenever the contract runs, but we have to prepare for that if that is non-negotiable.
So the 20,000 is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
I mean, it looks like it gets that budget amount gets a little closer to actuals from 22, 23. So.
And since you are on the medical side of it, the sheriff has received some information from the state of Tennessee where all sheriff's departments are starting to question the medical expenses throughout the state for inmates. I do not know what's going to come out of that, but I do know that it's on everybody's radar because that is increasing daily of the cost to provide medical care to inmates. I know that that has the attention to all sheriffs across the state of Tennessee.
So if they're in your care and they have medical insurance, do you still
That's
bill?
part of the documentation that we came through. That TennCare, if you're in custody, I hope I'm correct on this. That after 30 days that goes away. But I believe the legislators they're looking at hopefully. Now, if it was like somebody who carries Blue Cross Blue Shield, that insurance does cover it. The ones that we run across is pretty much the TennCare. And also there's documentation of people's talking about pre-existing illnesses. If somebody has heart disease that is being incarcerated as a pre-existing illness, that the sheriff's department is provided to give them medical care and give them to there. But the question is, are they liable to pay for that medical care? Because it says that they are entitled to give them medical care, but it does not have the cost of medical care. We've always paid it. Actually, Southern Health does a very good job negotiating those rates for us. We do get bills. I think Ms. Webb could probably give you a little bit more numbers on that. We get bills in. That's $100,000, and we end up having a bill coming up $20,000 where they negotiate that for us. So Southern Health does protect us pretty well on that.
I get the medical claims on 31 right there. I guess that just goes right along with that.
That's correct.
And Southern Health's very good about helping us negotiate some of those prices, especially if you have a huge hospital bill or helicopter flights and things like that.
I will touch on 54210, 421 food preparation, 422 food supplies. Whenever you're running 300 inmates, it costs money to feed people, and that number keeps on going up and keep on going up. An example this year, they ended up buying some meats prior to like Thanksgiving, this, that, and the other, 2 months in advance just to have cost savings. But that number just keeps on coming up, and I don't know how you can slow that down, except for have less inmates.
The flip side of that is you'll see increases in food supplies, medical claims, and medical coverage, but you're also seeing increases on revenue side of the board bill. So it's a double-edged sword. The more inmates you have, the more money you get from the board bill, the more expensive it is to manage those inmates, so.
Any other questions for the jail? The last one is drug control is back on page 29. Which is pretty much a self-supporting fund. Is that correct? You may be-
I do bring this up every year, that state laws has changed, seizures are getting a whole lot more, getting harder to be able to do. So a lot of the support of that is not just through the courts, but also through seizures. That's whenever you have your auctions, but the amount of stuff that's able to seize, the cash money is able to seize, does go down. I think we're in good shape for about the next 5 years, but maybe 4 to 5 years, that might have to be somewhat funded. But I think the sheriff's in good shape for 4 to 5 years right now, so it's nothing that needs to be addressed now, but I do bring it up every year, that this is getting harder and harder for drug guys to be able to fund that by their own work ethics.
I'm just referring to Fund 122, not page 29. Page 29 is just a pass-through from the DPF officer.
Fund 122, where's that at?
That's a third tab in your note.
Oh, gotcha.
The one he's telling you about. We had a large transfer, I think it was 300,000, to help sustain the drug fund for several years to come. But yes, it does bleed out every year. But that 300,000 transfer, like you said, I agree, will sustain us for several years. But at some point, they're not getting the money they used to get on seizures.
Do you still, do your DTF officers continue to work with ATF, FBI?
We do. We have one assigned to the ETF. We have one assigned to the marshals. We have ATF. We're getting the sheriff, I don't know if he has signed that paperwork, probably to the TBI.
We have ABI.
And they pay the overtime for those officers, correct?
They do. If it becomes extensive, yes, they will pay. A lot of times it works out that, if they work 3 days really hard here, they'll take off a couple of days. So yes, we do apply for it whenever it becomes necessary.
All right, any other questions about the budget as presented? Sheriff's Office? Okay, Chief Judge Allen, I have a couple presentations to make.
We will be switching seats.
Morning, appreciate your time. Talk about our inmate population. We're staying up to 268 beds, and we're staying in the 290s, I'm over 300 on the weekends. So we're at the burden. I'll talk to you this morning about retention salary increase. I've been a county employee since 1990. That tells how many you are there. But as long as I've been at the sheriff's office, we've been a training ground for other places. Prime example, when I came to this office in 1990, chief deputy, Doug Nelson went to RPD, be chief of police, eventually be chief of police. So it's been going a long time. But my duties as your Sheriff, it's been an honor to serve you for a term now. I'm blessed, thankful. Is, I need to protect the citizens, run the jail, serve the process, and oversee the courthouse, court security. It's a huge job, gonna have a lot of people to help. Have a county office, the only county office that never closes. It don't matter how bad it gets outside. 24/7, 365, no matter about holidays, snow days, rain, cold. We're here, we're there, we're happy for you. All my employees, except for two, has to have some kind of state certification. Whether you're a correctional officer, officer staff, whatever, DCI, corrections, post commission, or certified officer. Right now, I'm currently down 2 patrol officers, 7 correctional officers, and 1 court security. Sad part is, since I've been in office in 2010, I've lost 313 employees. 71 people left me in the last 2 years. And I feel quite sure that you want professional, well-trained officers protecting you, the citizens, the schools, the courts, everything. You got a problem, you need a vet, you want somebody that knows what they're doing, highly trained, they're experienced. And when I seen this number, it absolutely blew me away, because we have all the documentation, names and everything. I've lost 1,095 years of experience. Ladies and gentlemen, you might put a body in there, it's hard to replace that experience. Out of my budget, over the last 13 years, I got all the documentation. I paid out over $2.3 million for officers to go somewhere else.
What did you say, Sheriff? I'm sorry, you paid out what?
2.3 million, over 2.3 million for officers to go somewhere else to work. We're training, somebody else hires them. We're not losing many to the sheriff's office. Most of them is to PD, highway patrol, and just even in the private sector to make more money. You as taxpayers, I'm a taxpayer, lived my entire 68 years in Hawkins County in Rogersville. I've sent 83 people to Tennessee Law Enforcement Academy. 39 only still work for me. Those other ones are working for someone else. And I've not been fully staffed, I guess, in 2019, 2020. I want highly trained professional officers to protect you, me and my family, the taxpayers. It's hard to train somewhere else. State law requires certified officers to get 40 hours of training every year. Mine averages 97. Some of the specialized ones get a lot more than that, up in the hundreds. I'm not gonna tell you the names, but when we jeopardize our schools and our students and faculty, in 2021, I had 5 schools that went unprotected by an SRO. In 21-22, I had 5 schools unprotected, except for 2 of them had a half a year. 22-23, I had 5 schools be unprotected. One had went a half year unprotected, and the other one went 3 months. concerned about the safety of the citizens, our schools, our students, my officers, the inmates. And when I'm short-staffed, that jeopardizes all of those. When I'm short on the road, cuts down response time. In the warmer months, we're running 3,000 calls. We've got 500 square miles. You know, we back up the city, we fill in, we take care of Bulls Gap. We take care of Mount Carmel when they're in trouble. We're still helping answer calls if those cities need help, because those people in the cities are county taxpayers too. What I'd like to do is join your county employee pay scale 3, do away with the current 8 years I got. I think it's time that we invest in the officers, the men and women out here serving us every day and night, risking their life. And we all know it's not getting better, it's going to get worse. I need professional people to help you. The court systems are crazy. People are off the chain, a lot of people are. And we're the ones having to deal with it. Just in the jail since January, we've had 341 instances. Most of them are fights. I think Commissioner Gillum, you got to label. It's not a place for young men. I'm not getting any applications for certified officers. I'm getting a lot of applications from 18, 19-year-olds. And I don't mean this bad. I don't even know how to fill an application. They don't have any work history at all. How can you put them in a dangerous, hostile environment like a jail? We are bound to protect the citizens of this county. We're civilly liable if we don't. Thank the good Lord we haven't had a school shooting. Thank you we haven't had anything bad. But I can tell you, I can't speak for any city police department, but I can tell you the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office is all in 110% if anything goes south. I promise you. We proved that when that fake call come in at Volunteer High School. We're not gonna stand and wait. We're going in. We're going to the threat. We're gonna protect the students, the citizens. And it's getting bad because I'm having routinely now help churches with problem people. Because they've got some of the drug people come in their churches, want to cause disturbance, want donations. And I'm having to send officers patrol check churches or stand by while the service is going on. That's hard. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. I'm proposing for this next budget year a 10-year plan. I'd say it's on the employee pay scale, number 3. We'll give them the top of it. For your consideration, I think it's time we save money on the front end and the back end. I think it's time to protect our citizens and our students. I think it's time to protect our officers. I've only had 2 people since I've been in office retired. 2 people. They ain't been a dozen since 1990. That's sad. Like I told you some time ago when I've asked for raises every year that I've been in trying to keep this from happening. Like I'm sure Danny remembers Mark Lingus telling the commission many years ago, you're gonna keep kicking this can down the road. Someday it ain't gonna be able to get kicked. I think that time is here. You get what you pay for. If you want fully trained, certified, dedicated officers come to you and your family, your schools, your churches, your courthouses, fighting the war on drugs. I got 5 narcotics officers in none of the cities help whatsoever, but they sure will call them when they got a drug problem. $3 million for nothing. It's time to take a second look at this.
Sheriff, can you, give us the bottom dollar for what that would add to your budget?
I think Eric and the chief had talked about that.
It all depends on positions. You are looking at probably $1.8 million to be able to get called up from the retention level. The sheriff target applications, but whenever you're losing employees with 10 years of experience, 11 years of experience, and these are just not patrolmen, these are lieutenants, these are sergeants, these are corporals, that they're leaving after they get 5 or 6 years of experience, they're leaving us. And, you know, the sheriff, me and him talks about this pretty much every day. Nobody retires from Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, and that's bad. When you have, what was it, Sheriff, 2 people since you being in office that has only retired from the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office with 25 years of experience. That's just to prove that nobody stays.
Sheriff, as it is today, with the way that you are staffed, can you discharge all the statutorily mandated duties that's given to you by Tennessee Code of Administration
Not fully staffed.
as of today? So you can.
I can do the best I can do with what I got, but I have these positions because we have to have somebody doing these all the time.
To answer that question, please, sir, is to help the sheriff out. I can show you a report right now where he is understaffed and we're in non-compliance of today's events that TCI requires. Because it has a yellow and a blue. If you're in a blue, you're in non-compliance. Now, they'll be able to get called up, but the question that you asked the sheriff, we're lucky to have this. That way we can stay TCI certified. It shows us how far we're behind for that day's events. I'm not saying that the jail's in, it's just saying that we have mandates that the sheriff has to follow. And thank goodness we've got a program that helps us keep up with it.
So what you're saying is that program is indicating that you're not able to keep up with the mandates that TCA has laid out for the sheriff?
TCI.
TCA, well, TCA is what I'm saying, the Tennessee Code of Administration, the law, the constitutional office holders guidance that's given to you by TCA and state statutes.
And that's
give
all
you, yeah, give you a very specific list of things you can do. And so I guess the bottom line question I'm asking is, today, are you able to meet all the requirements that's given to you by TCA and state statute?
TCA mandates TCI, so no, I can answer that question.
No. Plus, we don't have the staff to get proper protected, so. I see what you're saying now.
You, actually, I'm going to give you a way to ask you questions, and other commissioners may have questions they want to ask, so I'm going to give them a chance to ask whatever they've got.
One other thing, Chairman. I'm sure most of it will, where the incident happened in Meigs County, where the deputy was transported. An inmate crashed, went in the river, he drowned, and they drowned. $10 million lawsuit for failure to properly train. Already, it's come out weeks ago. You can be sued civilly, professionally, personally, as officers, as counties, as departments, for failure to properly train and to maintain. I would hate for this county to get in a lawsuit with the track record we have, training up people to go somewhere else. $10 million right there.
any questions or any discussion?
For the proposed scale, what's the percent change from year over year? I guess from salary, from, like, for example, the secretary position changed from 0 to 1, 1 to 2. What would be the percent change from year to year on the scale?
The line item shows like the 1 to a 2 is a 4.1, then 2 to a 3 is 3.6, 3 to a 4 is 3.2, then I think it goes back to a 3.6, 3.6, then I think it goes back to a 3.3.
Okay, so it's not just a consistent 2%, 3%.
I didn't make that scale, that's the county scale that has been adopted, so I,
He's just mirrored what we have.
Yes,
He
I-
says 3, a lot of people forget we have 3, but we have 3. So I'm talking about the 1820, the 1950, and the 2080. The majority of the general fund employees are on that 1820. Health department, if we don't get rid of that scale, is currently the 1950, and then solid waste is the 8-hour, the 2080. So all he's doing is merging his scale onto the 2080-hour scale.
With the exception of the step 9.5 and step 10.5, which is not on our.
That is unique. That is unique.
So it's not really the county scale, it's based off the county scale, but it's been amended to fit his
Well,
staffing.
and one of my questions, which I didn't want to jump in on anybody, but their policy is a little different than our policy. In instance, when they promote people, I assume they want to keep the same structure, not necessarily.
because of years of service. That, the years of service, what you're talking, what he's talking about is if I have a road deputy who has got 8 years of experience, 7 years of experience, if he goes up to a corporal, he would still receive his years of experience. And here's a good example. We've had one officer who had 11 or 12 years on patrol side of it. He did not want to be in supervision at the time. He was raising kids. Then he decided, yes, it's time to be a corporal or whatever, that he had to go all the way back down and that he's not getting credit for his years of service. So if somebody gets promoted, I believe that his years of service, which is only a 10-year scale, that he or she should receive credit for that.
Okay. Well, that's the same as ours. The only other modification I see on theirs is, of course, they do have the kicker for an associate's, bachelor's, or master's, which the other scale does not have. And then there's one more question I have, I've lost it, so I'll come back with it later.
We do have to have a ranking structure, though.
If somebody come in with a master's degree in criminal justice, would they at that point probably be a deputy, or would they be a higher?
Have to start low and work your way up, and further the other employees.
They would start at a step 1 deputy with a 7% incentive. But also they just got them putting $40,000 into a degree, $50,000 into a degree.
So Sheriff, $2.3 million we paid out to send officers somewhere else.
Yes, sir.
right? So can you give me an idea of what some of that 2.3 million was? Like, what those costs were?
Out of the 313, their payout, 759,119.67. We paid them to go out the door to somewhere else. That was their comp time, their vacation time.
What was that number again?
759,000.
$759,119.67. Like I said, these came up years of training, 1,095 years of training. And the training for the people that left was $418,950. Those people left, their salary and benefits was another $594,000.
Jail would be 527.
Yeah, 575,000 for jail employees. To take that out.
And the way that these numbers comes up is to put boots on the floor at the correction facility is, no matter what you do, he's already in it between the $3,000 to $5,000 just to get boots on the floor, which will make him actually go to work, understand a computer system. Hey, what's TCI standards, what's his standards? To get boots on the ground as a road officer, you're $30,000 just to get somebody trained up, get ready, just to get them turned loose. It's a never-ending cycle.
And everybody comes in has to have a psychological, it's $300. You have to have a drug test, which takes time at this office, takes time at Nancy's office.
I mean, looking at this, sheet here, can you tell, in each one of these positions, how many, can you tell us how many you got in each one of these positions, starting at the top of them?
It's got one chief deputy,
Well, let's start with secretaries, how many secretaries? you got?
3.
Three,
One of those is
okay,
state
deputy court,
certified. Total.
What was the next question?
the second one, I was just going down the sheet, that you gave us.
I'll give all mine out.
Court officers.
Court officer.
Thank you.
Deputy court, yeah, deputies court,
Deputies and courts, that's the huge number. Right now, you've got 17 patrol officers, 2, don't want to go too fast on this, 2 process servers. You've got 15 SROs, that is not included, 2, a sergeant and a corporal, then you have a lieutenant. The court officers, you have 6. That should cover most of the deputies itself. Then, of course, the other deputies from the jail side of it, you have 27 positions for the floor. You've got 4 for the work crew. You have 3 for the kitchen staff. You have 4 corporals and 4 sergeants in the jail. You have 2 first sergeants in the jail, and of course, the lieutenant will fall under lieutenants.
I think Chief, you kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what I think what she's asking is, how many employees will fall into step 9? How many employees will fall into step 9.5? How many you may not have that off the top of your head. If you want to run some figures real quick, we can come back to you.
Thank you.
I think on page 28.
Yeah, we may actually already have that.
Well, you do to a degree, but then you also have to look on the jail side and kind of put them in the right box and make sure that you do get them in the right box. But yeah, you kind of do. Just take a little math. Tony, I remember I have a question now. When you quoted your number of 1.7 million, is that putting everybody to their current step immediately?
With the years of service, yes, sir.
Okay, that was my question.
I also have employees that's not able to to afford the insurance, they have to go without. A lot of ladies, that's the breadwinner, they have to decide whether they pay their bills or they buy food. Everybody's gone through the same thing to do. Like I tell them, like the commissioner, one of my, she came to me and apologized because she drove to work 2 months without getting her tags. She had to make a decision where, do I pay my family, pay my bills, or do I buy my tags? It goes on and on and on. Even with, because y'all know, and it ain't, there's a whole lot y'all can control, but every year we've got a cost of living raise, the insurance went up. And that's hard when you take $600 a month out of your insurance, you're trying to provide for your family. And I have several it's the main breadwinner of their family. One girl works for me, she's the main breadwinner, she's got 4 kids.
Said you sent 83 to the academy and had 39 still here, so we've lost 44 of those. And that's over, is that over your term?
Just my term on it, that ain't counting way back on. We've been hundreds, went down there. And just like, I mean, you say we're off about 2. No, I'm talking about, so,
13, not counting Travis and two.
well, you got 14 people at Rogersville Police Department. And Hawkins County taxpayers train all of those too. But one, I guess, now, same way with Churchill, I sent 6 to THP. One to Anderson County, one to White Pine PD. Churchill's got some. Kingsport's got 3 or 4, even their command staff up there. Hawkins County taxpayers pay for their academy.
So your major concern is hiring,
My concern is retention.
retention
I
of
can
current
hire them,
employees.
it's just keeping them,
Yeah.
it's a revolving door.
So, I shared with you the other day, you know, there's companies around that start out, you know, $21 and $22 an hour, factory jobs and so on, that are looking for employees every day. And they just need employees to come around machines. That's all they do. There's no real risk in terms of public safety. So if we were to adjust your pay scale and you were to go beginning at step A, pay scale number 3 for your employees, can you say with a lot of confidence that this is going to fix your retention problem?
I believe it'd be a terrific start, because that's the main thing. If people leave the money, because you can probably hold those officers that left me at RTD, majority of them would have stayed if they no more money, because they like what we do. And I know that your factories and stuff make that, and they all hurt too. They don't carry gun and risk their life. They're not in the sales with inmates, the violent inmates.
Right, and I guess that's the point that I'm making, is that they're paying similar to what you're asking for us to adjust your pay scale to, and they still can't hire, and there's no risk involved. So, you know, I think the hiring market is just tough right now. I think it's tough for everybody.
Just a good, for instance, Mr. Chairman, if I can keep MSROs in schools, they'll be protected. If they have some incentive to stay, because majority, I think, almost all of those SROs love the school they're in. Just like I take your SRO, he picks a fit with me. He loves that school. These SROs are all in, but if they can't provide for their family, they leave. That's why all these schools has been unprotected all these years. That's not my fault. I can't put anybody in there that don't have anybody. That's why I'm reaching out to the county commission now. Let's fix this problem now. Sure, I've got 865 days left, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the future of this county, because I live here. I grew up here. And that's what I'm worried about, the future. This not getting any better. You said it was coming to pass. I need professional people protecting you all, protecting our schools, our families, our churches, our businesses. And it's getting more now, people don't want to risk their life and carry it in. But we need to maintain what we have.
Make a comment, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
absolutely.
So I agree with exactly what you said. The truth is, the labor market is just getting tighter and tighter in every field. I think in particular, all of us would probably agree that the law enforcement labor market is even tighter than the general labor market. Right? It's getting more and more difficult to get people to do this job for a host of different reasons, which just magnifies what you've laid before us today. And I think the hard truth is, I mean, none of us like sitting here talking about a huge price tag thing. I'm the first one to sit here and shout about spending money. Okay, I get it. But I think the hard truth is, we're probably going to end up paying somewhere in the neighborhood of what these numbers say right here. It's just a matter of if we're going to sit here and fight and scratch about it 3-4% at a time each year as a cost of living adjustment, and we're still losing people in the meantime, or if we try to make an investment, some type of investment. I don't know what amount that will be, if it'll be the full amount or if it's something less than that, but if we try to make an investment to do something with the pay rates that where we can hire and retain employees. I can't imagine how frustrating, when I worked for McDonald's Corporation, turnover was, of course, ridiculous, right? I had, that was the biggest battle that we fought, and we were serving hamburgers and french fries. You know, you're trying to protect citizens and keep the jail secure. And I'll share this too. I did get to tour the jail with the sheriff, and just so happened there were 2 fights inside a couple of cell blocks while I was there. And the sheriff let me have a full experience of that and what it's like walking into those situations. And, you know, I'm a pretty big guy, fairly healthy and confident, whatever. But walking into that situation with those guys and observing that, I can imagine being a 19-year-old kid walking in there with little to no experience at all in the workforce, let alone law enforcement. And imagine, you know, that was in the middle of the day, the sheriff was there, chief deputy was there, everybody's there. Imagine when those things happen at night, and these guys are trying to ensure that because something like that, they could explain better than I could, and I didn't really understand it until I saw it, how quickly something like that could really get out of control. And so being able not only to hire, but to retain good people in that department in particular is crucial. We don't have, none of us want to be in the headlines for something terrible happening, right? And all eyes been on us, and I think we have to consider that it is that we want to give the sheriff's department what they need to do what we ask them to do. I don't know what amount that is, but we're going to, I think we're going to get these pay rates one way or another. It's just whether we're going to do it in an investment way where we decide to bite the bullet and do it, or we do it 3, 4, 5% at a time over the next 5, 6 years, you know, because that's what we do every year. It's what we do. We sit in here and talk about cost of living adjustments, and I made the comment last year, I would prefer that we overhaul tell me what it's going to take to solve the problem, right? Let's a cost of living adjustment, while I understand it's not a raise, it's to help people's dollars go the same amount. But when you overhaul a entire pay scale, you're saying we've identified the problem. This amount of money to pay a person is not enough to get people and keep them for a reasonable amount of time. We have identified that this amount is at least better at that amount, so we're going to make an investment to try to solve the problem. If we fight this with cost of living adjustments and such, I think that's not going to work. And we'll end up paying made the same money and more in the long run. So those are just some things for us all to consider. I know it's tough, but that was more comments than it was questions. I apologize for the time, Mr. Chair.
I'm just
Spoke
trying,
longer than I meant to.
I'm just trying to keep man to that 2.3 plus. It's invested in the people to keep them, and I think you talked before, Craig's lost just months, 3 of them.
Yeah, one of them couldn't shake my hand because he got hurt in the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, might use, he can't have anything to do with him, like he has to be in town.
Chief Deputy, did you get an answer?
I did. The short version of it, not on the year side of it, but in the positions, step 8 would be 3, a step 9 would be 81, a step 9.5 would be 8, a step 10 would be 21, a step 10.5 would be 2, a step 11 would be 5, a step 12 would be 1. Please forgive me if I'm off 1 or 2 on that.
That's okay, that's pretty close.
That was pretty, that's just on the quick right there.
What do you say step 9 would be?
I'm sorry, 81, I'm sorry, 81.
Mr. Chairman, I got
Yeah, please.
we got 2 questions and then I'll comment too. So, looking at our incentives for advanced degrees, do we know how many of our officers, or I guess employees at the sheriff department have an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree?
Sorry, I'm distracted, Tommy, I apologize.
He's the man.
Thanks for my good old buddy. That's, just like earlier when we was talking about a number, I keep on forgetting about the SRO. Lieutenant, 11 would be 6. Step 11 would be 6.
The associate, bachelor's, and a master's currently.
I can figure that out pretty quick.
While he's working on
Does it
that-
matter if they're the 3 or the 5?
Well, whatever degree, associate, bachelor.
Okay, I can do that real quick.
The second question I have, does the sheriff department have a current retention plan? I know, we're talking about pay, but is there any, other than the incentives, is there any other retention line? You work 2 years for us, you get this,
No, longevity pay or anything like that, no.
so it's just basically step increases all the way
Yeah,
down.
they get promoted.
I guess a comment I like to make about it, I echo what Josh says, but we look across the country and we see what defund the police have gotten us. Lawlessness, officers not responding. Just like I say at my job, you don't pay your employees, they're gonna go somewhere else. They're not gonna care what they do. You say, well, what does it matter, I'm going somewhere else and make more money doing less amount of work. I gave most sheets out to the budget committee members. Looking at surrounding counties now, other counties have a higher population than we do. But we're at the bottom. Carter County, I couldn't get a response from their department. Washington County, significant higher population in the industry, same thing with Sullivan County and Greene County. But while we can't compare a county to a city or to the state, we can compare it to other counties. There's no reason, in my mind, why we shouldn't be at least competitive with other counties. I think it would pay to invest in our department. It's what we've been doing for the last 10 years, honestly, it's working. Can we make happen what you propose? I don't know, but I do think something needs to happen along the lines of a pay scale. And maybe even look at an incentive. What, if you stay with our department for 2 years, what else do you receive for a loyalty bonus? And maybe even as a bonus, not to, it makes the effort. But that's my thoughts on it. Chief Allen, did you?
I did, sir, the 3% currently right now, we stand as 11 people has an associate's degree at 3%, 8 people has a bachelor's degree at 5%, 0 people has a master's degree.
pursue a higher education, if you've got an associate degree, and you wanna go to a bachelor's, the county will help pay a portion to help you get your degree.
So what you're saying.
You know, and do, you know, whatever the county will wanna do, do you wanna tack on a, you know, sign a contract, you know, you stay with us, we'll help pay a part of your degree. And then, you know, go from there, I think there needs to be some kind of retention plan.
I just need some help retaining my officers I have. Be able to entice others from other agencies to kind of make this county safe, our schools safe, our inmates safe, and our officers safe.
Well, it's just like my director in a meeting told me, well, it's like this everywhere. Okay, what can we do to be better? What makes us more enticing for someone else?
Well, I can also tell you what employees I got, not one of them was stumbling mentally to give their life to you without question. The public, the school, they're all in. They're all in, they wouldn't do that.
Does anyone else have any other questions for the sheriff?
I do have a couple quick questions.
Yes, sir.
For right now, what's the current cap for length of service? Like, where would they cap out after how many years of service? 8 for the sheriff's department? 8, okay.
And I have several employees already at that age.
And so as far as it comes to looking at being able to recruit, and retain, I think it's pretty commonly accepted it's cheaper to retain what you've got than it is to go out and have to hire new people. But when it comes to hiring new, putting that new boots on the ground type situation, do we have any option of like if we pay for the academy training that they have to serve 2 years with us?
We do that
We do that
contract.
currently.
Sure do. 3-year
So it's at that point, then it's when we're looking at the retention or they just buy it out.
Well, they can buy it out, but we had one of the cities actually pay the $3,500 to the county to hire that guy. Wow. The city wrote the check.
I mean,
Had
that's,
2 break contract in the last.
Pretty bad when you have someone willing to break a contract.
Well, it's cheaper to write that $3,500 check than somebody at the county.
the math on it, because that
We got a
becomes
certified officer going to work right now.
What does it cost to go to the academy?
The academy, like if you go to Nashville, they have a grant right now, it's not costing, but you still have to pay for food and things like that. Transition school's about 1,000, the, Water State, Stacy, is that around 3,500, and we have 45 with food. 4,500 with food, $5,000 in fuel and shelter.
Back to the education, I guess an associate degree going to a bachelor's, is that like a 2-year plan? Normally, y'all know more about it than I do. Is that like a 2-year?
We have quite a few people that goes to, cannot remember, Bethel University. Bethel University is good for law enforcement, EMS, and fire. And usually it takes about 2 years to go from an associate's to a bachelor, and about 4 years to get an associate's. But it's at night. It all depends on how much, because you get credit for your academy. That's the reason why you're able to do that through Bethel. And Bethel's a good university to work with. They work with our officers very well.
the only thing when it comes to like trying to use this as a recruitment for other agencies. So like if somebody was coming from Sullivan, Greene County, what do you have to pay anything for them to hire them on as a like transfer, any additional training, or do they come kind of pre-trained if you were hiring from others?
They come with their ticket, just like when mine goes.
Right.
They just put them to work.
Because looking at some of the comparison of deputy pays, the length of service is where I think it's really going to come into play on that side of it. Because if you had 5 years in at Sullivan or Greene, you're going to be taking a pay cut for the same position to come in for the first couple of years. So at that point, I feel like you're almost always have better training expense for new people, because most people wouldn't just be able to financially afford a $2 or $3 pay cut to come here to work for 3 or 4 years to get caught up to where they were 4 years ago. I agree with some of the, we're gonna ultimately decide what kind of level of service we wanna pay for it with the sheriff's department. You know, do you wanna fund it to give them the level of service that we probably expect? Or do you want to, you know, continue with what we have and continue to kick the can down the road? But the labor market's not gonna get any better.
I don't know if you want to figure this in or not, but, you know, when we use our scale, when we hire somebody, we can, at the department head discretion, bring them in at the 4th level. You can bring them in 1 through 3 or 4, but,
I'm trying to be,
Money permitting.
yes.
but as many as I go through, I'm trying to be, giving people that's already there. If you
Right,
let somebody
right, but
forward,
to the
you
point
gotta
that
go
John was talking about,
Yeah.
if somebody moves departments, there may be enough in there to get it close.
And that's one of
Money
the
permits.
reasons, and that's one of the reasons that was instrumental, is if you're bringing somebody over who has relevant work experience, you wanted management to have a little flexibility to not be locked into that first step only.
Right, because I mean, that would help offset some of the training costs if you have that discretion to be able to bring them in to
Yeah.
match their length of service. If we're looking at, you know, I'm trying to reduce the amount that we're spending on training, if you had the ability to bring them in a 2 or 3 year plan, you know, I feel like there's probably a reasonable cap on that somewhere to do, but that just gives you a little bit more flexibility of that recruitment tool.
I understand what you're saying. I do agree with that. The sheriff had already mentioned that to me. We do have a plan in place if that question did come up. Like some places will give you a credit for 3 for 1. Like if you got 3 years of experience, you'll get a year's credit here. I think that the guidelines on that should be based on you have to be employed by Tennessee, not so much outside of the state of Tennessee. You have to be in TCRS or something equivalent to a Tennessee retirement, or if on the correction side of it, you'd have to work at a facility that had to be TCI certified. So we can put regulations on that, and I think that's a fantastic idea. Because you would get a lot of employees from other places if they had that incentive coming in.
Sheriff, you know, I think we talked the other day, and I've got a stepson that's 17, he's going to turn 18. And if he told me that he wanted to come work for the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, I'd be proud of him because he wanted to put on a uniform and protect our citizens. I'd be worried about him though, because he probably have to live at my house still. And he eats a lot. I will say, you know, everybody that's in this room right now that's been elected ran on conservative values, one of which is we believe in a traditional family. I don't know that a young man or a young woman can get hired on at the sheriff's office and maintain a traditional family. It's not going to happen. We believe generally as a community that, you know, one person working, one person helping raise kids, and I don't know that your officers can do that without having to deliver pizzas, which one of yours does. Right. And I know a few of yours that mows yards on the weekends. So we all, I love what the other commissioners are saying. We all understand the need. We support y'all. And I'm going to tell you, if we continue not to address this problem, all these thin blue line stickers that we got on the back of our cars, we need to take them off. Because we're not really supporting law enforcement with action, we're supporting them with words. And words don't always carry a whole lot of meaning. But you know, $1.8 million, I challenged the committee and the commissioners that are here today, yesterday, that when you think about money, you need to think about pennies. $1.8 million is going to equate to 14.72 cents on top of $2.3247 that's taxed on our community. And we knew this was coming. We knew these chickens were going to come home to roost. And last year, we tried to put a graduated tax increase in place. That would have been small increments year by year so that it didn't hit us all at once. And Sheriff, right now, that didn't pass. We weren't able to do that. So we're back to having to play catch up, to fund things that we knew were coming down the line. And we continue to put things off until it hits us and we don't have a choice. And now we've got a 14.72 cent revenue problem if we give you everything you're asking for. Which, in full disclosure, I don't know that y'all are going to get everything you're asking for. I think we need to do something. I think we need to fix something And I would love to say, I'll be honest with you, in my heart of hearts, I wish we could start every deputy out at $50,000 a year. I wish we could. Fact is we live in a community where our poverty level's high and our taxpayers are already taxed to death, some of them. So we're gonna play catch up. But, I just wanna share with you, you know, I wanna tell you that I support you, but I also wanna show you that I support you, and I will do my very best as, you know, as an elected official. I know from what I've heard the others say, they're gonna try their best too. So I hope we can get something in place for you.
Well, I appreciate that. We got a lot of people moving in because we got low taxes. Maybe they'll move in too because we got the safest county in this Tennessee. The safest schools. Safest church. But I appreciate all the county commission's done for me since I've been in office. I took this job saying, I want the most highly trained professional officers. If they wear my badge, they are. I just want to keep them. I want the best for you all. Help. I'll send some young man, when you take, just like I mentioned you, when we got cell block and fights, when you have, we're having about 8 or 9 murders right now, we have gang members, and we just have plenty of mean people now. When you got a few crazies, it's hard to put an 18, 19-year-old child, like I mentioned you, I don't need boys in jail, I need men in there working. Have it when they walk in, the inmates know this is not going to go well for me if I show up. 341 incidents in January. Majority of them are fights. Misbehaving, tearing stuff up, sprinkler heads, which runs our water bill up. Got 3 officers been injured in live duty in jail. That's workman's comp.